And now, I'd like to welcome Guanajuato Silver Company to the stage. It's the best name ever. G Silver is a precious metals producer engaged in reactivating past-producing silver and gold mines near the city of Guanajuato, Mexico, which has an established 480-year mining history. The company is currently producing silver and gold from its 100% owned El Cubo and El Pingüico projects. Here to share highlights of the company is James Anderson, Chairman and CEO.
Thank you very much, Joanne. Thank you, everybody, for showing up and seeing the Guanajuato Silver story. Thank you to the Mining Investment Event of the North. I think, as Phil was pointing out, it really does have all of the attributes to be a fantastic event going into the future. So I think we're all excited about coming back here year after year after year to this marvelous facility and to this marvelous city. It's very exciting for me to be able to come up after Phil Baker and after Hecla tells their story. Hecla is one of, if not the oldest precious metals mining company in North America. Guanajuato Silver, on the other hand, is North America and Mexico's newest silver and gold mining company. So if we can have a history and go into the future 110 years, I'm hoping that Guanajuato Silver is around, still making silver and gold. I'm going to tell you, I've got 20 minutes to tell you a little bit about our story, our history, our company, our people. First of all, we are Mexico's newest precious metals company. We're very proud of that. We did that by purchasing the El Cubo mine and mill complex from Endeavour Silver last year. That mine had been shut down for about 2 years. We purchased it in April of last year. We started mining in August. We started processing material in September with first concentrate sales in October. And the reason that I point that out, in an industry that is fraught with delays, over budgets, timelines that deteriorate, we were on track, on time, and on budget. We're very proud of that, and we're going to continue to point that out and promote it until such time that it's not true anymore. We're on track to be producing at a run rate of about 1.8 million silver equivalent ounces per year. We're not quite there yet. Currently, we're producing at about a rate of 1.3 million silver equivalent ounces. We intend to hit that 1.8 rate number by the end of the third quarter of this year. So if you don't know where Guanajuato is, there is a state called Guanajuato right in central Mexico. There's also a city of Guanajuato that has about 200,000 people in it. There's a much larger center about 40 minutes drive to the west called León. And between those two cities, there is an international airport. And when I say an international airport, there are direct flights every day to Houston, Detroit, strangely, because of the automotive industry that's there, Dallas, and about 8 flights a day to Mexico City. The reason that I point that out is because this is a very easy place to get to, incredible infrastructure, unlike the vast majority of other mining stories and tales that you will hear. This is El Cubo. This is what we purchased for $15 million last year. I like to point that out as well. Just to put that into context, the last time that this asset changed hands was in 2012. Endeavour Silver paid $200 million for it. They paid $100 million in cash and $100 million in shares, and then they went about spending about $30 million building the plant, most of which that you can see here. We pay $15 million and then spend about $5 million refurbishing the plant in order to get it up to production. And again, I do like to point that out. I think it is something that separates us from perhaps other mining companies. Oftentimes, the mining companies will overpay for assets in our industry. Certainly, everyone in this room has seen that. We have a philosophy, and I, as CEO, have a philosophy to buy assets inexpensively. I think that that is the best point that can deliver good returns for investors and for shareholders. Here you can see our desire to try and mine a little bit differently than our predecessors. Endeavour paid a lot of money for the asset. They built the plant perhaps too large for the very typical narrow vein but high-grade epithermal system that El Cubo is. We intend to mine for profitability and not for volume. So how do we do that? A lot less long hole stoping, a lot less mechanized mining, a lot more cut and fill. We can be very selective in the grades that we take out of the mine and selective in the grades and amount of material that we put towards the plant. Currently, we're processing about 30,000 tons of material per month. In 2018, Endeavour was processing about 54,000 tons per month. So we are already executing our plan to perhaps process a little bit less material but higher grade. Currently, we get about 2/3 of our material from El Cubo and about 1/3 of our material, about 10,000 tons a month, from our other project in the area called Pinguico, which is about 8 kilometers away. It is a past producer but has a large stockpile of waste that was mined 110 years ago and has a significant amount of silver and gold in it. So here you can see El Cubo itself, and because of time constraints, I'm just going to try and hit on some of the key points here. You can see the little circle there that says new connector to Santa Cecilia. You can also see the scale bar. So this is a big operation. In the south, there's about 27 development levels that have been developed here. So it's a big operation. Strangely, though, the north half and the south half of this mine were never connected underground. So as we choose to decide where we're going to be spending capital in the months and years ahead, we're trying to pick things that are going to have an immediate impact. So there's only about 150 meters of development that was necessary in order to connect the north and the south part of this mine. We started working on that about 2 months ago. We've only got about 2 weeks to go before that connection will be made. Currently, when trucks leave the northern part of the mine, they have to drive about 7 kilometers all the way around a big hill and through some gravel roads to our plant. Once that connector is made, it's only going to be about 2.5 kilometers all underground to our plant. So immediate savings in fuel, immediate savings in tire wear, immediate savings in less road repair and road maintenance that we have to do. So it's that kind of CapEx that we want to spend that has an immediate effect on our costs. I'm going to zoom in on this area to the south called Villalpando. Here you can see some of the areas that we were mining right away when we took control of the mine last year. You can also see all of the development work on the left-hand side of this slide and a lack of development work on the right-hand side. You can also see that sort of white space between some of the ore chutes here. What that represents is a fault, and Endeavour never did any development work to the south of that fault. We've put in about 150 meters worth of development work, and we are actively mining in this area. All of the red dots that you see on this slide are drill holes that were drilled by Endeavour. We've got about 100 kilometers worth of drill core, in our inventory that we are re-logging. We're going to re-log the whole thing because I know that there is another new discovery in there, so long as there are new eyes, new geologists looking at that drill core. We've also got access to all of their Vulcan computer modeling. However, we're just about at the point where all of our new computer modeling, everything that our team sees, is just about completed, and we'll be using that a great deal into the future. So this is Guanajuato. Guanajuato has a 450-year-old mining history. However, it is a beautiful city. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In its long history, certainly during the 1600s and 1700s, this was one of the richest communities in the world. So you can see here it's got an active tourist industry, and you can see the beautiful layout of the city. There's nice hotels, there's nice restaurants. It's a very livable place. The reason why that's important is because it makes our job of attracting quality, I want to say high grade, quality talent, quality mining talent from Mexico to this city. If you're a young geologist or a young engineer, you can have a choice and have an apartment on the south side of Guanajuato, or live in perhaps a dusty little town in Chihuahua. For a lot of different people, this is a very easy choice to make. This is the region, and there's 2 takeaways from this slide. Number one, you can see all of the different mining activity that has been and is in the industry today. You can see our El Cubo and our El Pinguico mines to the south. The other thing that's noteworthy are the three major breaks. These are three tectonic events. The most important one is the one in the middle, the Veta Madre, the mother vein. It's not really a vein. It is a 30-kilometer long fault structure that has been intruded by a very powerful, very long-lived epithermal system. And you can see all of the historical and current mines along that trend. Valenciana is probably the most important historical mine in the district. In the 1700s, it was producing as much as 40% of the entire world's silver. And that will come important into our story in just a moment. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit about Pinguico, our other project. The choo-choo train image that you're looking at here, I stole from the 1909 annual report of the Pinguico Mines Company of New York City. This was listed on the New York Stock Exchange. They paid a handsome dividend for many years while production was ongoing here. In 1913, production shut down because of the violence of the Mexican Revolution, and the project has never really quite had the opportunity to get going again, although numerous Mexican outfits have tried. Usually lack of capital shut them down. One of the key components of this particular slide, if you look over on the right, you can see this waste pile, material that's come up out of this central shaft and deposited there. Well, it still exists today. But it does have some silver and gold in it. It's got about 103 grams of silver equivalent. So we have been using this material in our processing facility as we ramp up at El Cubo. Now, we've just about weaned our way off of this. It's been very, very helpful component to our mining operation for the last number of months. We don't make a lot of money off this material, so we're going to be weaning ourselves off and taking material strictly from El Cubo in the months ahead. Pinguico is very much an exploration project for us. So what you can see here are the red dots are underground drill holes that we've drilled at Pinguico for the last 18 months or so. And you can see a couple of the highlight drill holes. Occasionally, intercepts that have close to 1 kilo of silver equivalent in them. So very good grade. And the difference between this project and, let's say, some exploration project that's 150 kilometers away from the nearest processing plant, material that we're finding in situ here, I can say soberly will make its way through our processing plant within the next 36 months or so. Now, there's another very interesting, more speculative target that we have here, and that is the Veta Madre. So immediately to the east of how this slide is situated, or as you're looking at the slide towards you, is the mine called Las Torres. Las Torres was operated from 1972 until 2002 by Fresnillo, or in that time their parent company, Peñoles. Now they mined right up to our claim boundary at that time. So the Veta Madre does continue right underneath this slide. The very interesting target that we have is where the Pinguico vein structure and the Veta Madre come into contact with one another. Where those two structures come into contact, one would expect a deformation zone in the Earth's crust, perhaps allowing more fluid flow, more epithermal fluid flow, and more silver and gold deposition. We're just about ready to collar a hole or two or three to be able to test where exactly Veta Madre is. Again, they mined it for 30 years right across our claim boundary, right up to our claim boundary. So we're quite confident that it's there and it exists. Where it exactly is in space, we want to be able to identify that. And with success doing that, we will steepen the head on the drill and test that contact of the two structures. So that's a very interesting drill target. And of course, when we're dreaming and the drills are turning, we can dream about perhaps coming into contact with something resembling Valenciana that's just 10 kilometers to the north, which has this 450-year mining history. So we had a PEA done by Bear Dole Bear last year prior to us recommencing production. You can see they gave us very little credit for material at Pinguico, really just the above-ground stockpile. But what they would suggest, what Bear would suggest, is that we have approximately a 7-year mine life and 105% IRR. So very robust at a small rate. And if I can just go a step further, I think what we've built so far really is a foundation for growth and expansion within the Guanajuato region. I was born in Timmins, Ontario. We like to brag about our 120-year mine history and the extraordinary mines that have developed there over the years, but it doesn't quite live up to a 450-year mine history like at a place like Guanajuato. We've got a market cap of about $95 million, 225 million shares issued. Our shares materially outperformed our peers last year up until about 60 days ago, when apparently everything could get sold. So if any of you are speculators out there and you feel like perhaps becoming a shareholder in our company, it's often nice to know who you're investing alongside. Endeavour Silver is our largest shareholder by virtue of the fact that they took back some stock in partial payment for the El Cubo purchase. However, they also wrote us a $3.5 million check in December as part of our last capital raise, and I think that that's a very good expression of what Endeavour Silver thinks about how we are managing El Cubo and how we're managing the company. Mermacan Capital is a Connecticut-based precious metals investor. Dan Oliver is the fund manager. He's also on our board of directors. And Dan has been extraordinarily helpful in sourcing capital for the company to date. Guanajuato Silver directors and advisors, including myself, have a large position in the company. VBS is an Australian family office. They are sometimes described as Australia's wealthiest family. They also put a gold mine back into production about 4 years ago in Australia, so they do have a team that can do a very deep dive on these kind of situations, which they've done, and obviously they like what they see. There is a chap named Mr. Sprott, who's also a shareholder. Apparently he knows something about mining as well. And EMA is another Boston-based precious metals fund. So I know that all of the CEOs like to brag about their team, as do I. I'm only going to mention one of our team members, and that is Ramon Davila. Ramon, in my estimation, has the best CV in Mexican mining. Ramon has had enormous success at Peñoles, at Pan American Silver, but where you can really see his fingerprints the most is at First Majestic. Ramon was the chief operating officer and on the board of directors of First Majestic from when that company had 0 production to when it had 12 million silver equivalent ounces per year. When he joined as chief operating officer, they had 4 employees. When he left, they had 4,000. And when he left in 2016, he went to join the state government in Durango, where he lives, as the economy minister. He did that for 4 years. Ramon and I like to joke with each other that no good miner should stay in government for any longer than 4 years. Ramon feels the same way that I do, that what we have at El Cubo is the start of a hub-and-spoke operation where we can source other material from this 450-year mining camp. That's really our business plan, our business opportunity, is to create Mexico's newest important silver and gold mining company. So that's my presentation. Happy to take any questions at all from all of you happy viewers out there.
We're good? Got off easy.
No questions from you even?
No.
No? Okay, very good. Thank you so much for all your attention, everybody. Have a great rest of the conference.
Thank you for your.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. That was a great presentation.
Thank you. Talk soon.